Welcome to Awakening, the podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and welcome to your May 2024 Oracle reading, which is coming from a very unusual place this month. Your Oracle reading for May with some incredible inspiration and direction for you in this month of May is coming to you from the Angelic's Wildest Dreams. It's book 1 in our Angelic series. You may know that book 2, The Angelic's Afterlife, is now available for pre-order and will be live and available in paperback and ebook as of May 22nd. So get your pre-order. You can find a link in the show notes or go to Amazon, find Heather Christian Strang, and you'll see all my books there, and you'll see the pre-order right there so that it will be delivered to you on May 22nd. And of course, I'll have more from you about book 2 in the series, The Angelic's Afterlife. But first, your Oracle reading is coming to you from the Angelic's Wildest Dreams. Now, before I share this epic reading with you, I want to speak to something that seems to be coming up a lot for people in the collective right now, and it's about the current state, the current unfolding of the collective humanity. And if you find yourself as someone who is frustrated or aggravated or maybe even feeling powerless about what you're seeing happening on Earth at this time, I want you to know and be encouraged and inspired to know that there is absolutely something you can do to change and shift what you see happening in the world. And it's not protesting. It's not posting content on social media. You absolutely, as a divine being of the light, have access to advanced spiritual technologies that can transform and does transform the reality in your current experience and supports the transformation of the reality in the collective experience. If you would like access to these spiritual technologies, you can go to my website, sacred-spirituality.org, and click on certifications. I want to highlight particularly our Love Territory Guide certification, which gives you a spiritual attunement and gives you specific spiritual tools, alchemical, powerful technologies that you can use to shift what is happening on Earth at this time. We've had folks have experiences of everything from eliminating earthquake activity to shifting the chemtrails in the sky to completely moving smoke from a forest fire out of the area. There is so much power to these divine technologies that Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, and all of the goddesses and all of the highest light have given to us that we now share with you. So you absolutely are not powerless, and engaging in the artificial matrix systems as a way to transmute what is happening or transcend it will not ever work. Period. End of story. Won't ever work. Never has worked. Never will work. You do not end a war by fighting that system. Because guess what? Both parties paid in to create the war so that you could be distracted. And our Oracle reading is actually going to talk a little bit more about this today. Believe it or not, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I didn't even realize the Angelic's Wildest Dreams is really talking about these pieces. The wars are funded by both sides, and they're used to manipulate and obviously depopulate. But make no mistake, everything that is occurring at this time has been curated. It has been created to harness and siphon your energy, your attention, your focus, and to keep you out of alignment with your highest path. But there is another way. And that way has nothing to do with engaging in the artificial systems or giving them any attention or trying to fight them or change them in any way. That spiritual technologies exist that you can utilize, and you have access to them right here, right now. You can immediately sign up for our Love Territory Guide certification. Within 24 hours, receive all access pass to the training, to the technologies, to the spiritual attunement. And within 24 hours, you can start practicing and using these technologies to shift your reality and therefore support the shifting of the collective reality. It really is that easy. And of course, the agenda that curates disasters and dramas and all the things doesn't want you to know that. Because that is not how that agenda survives. That agenda survives by you being disempowered. It survives by you being enraged by its dysfunction. It survives by you paying attention to it. So when you shift your attention and actually place it in a more powerful, potent place, and then you take action, you receive spiritual attunements, you receive the information, the guidance, the direction, the tools. Now you are powerful. Now you are empowered. Now you are no match for the agenda which seeks to control and siphon your energy and not allow the full radiance of your being to be blessed on this earth. Now, of course, we saw this in 2016. I shared this with you some time ago. I was shown in meditation during the winter solstice that there was a split in consciousness occurring. The third and fourth dimensions were going one direction, and the fifth dimension was going in the other. So those of us that are choosing the higher timeline, choosing the higher reality, we are taking action. We are using these spiritual technologies to support the transformation of consciousness on earth. We are creating our own personal heaven on earth and oases that we then transmit from, and we are creating the new humanity, the new collective soul, the new experience that is available to those who choose to incarnate into these human avatars. So if you are one who has been not taking action, who's been languishing, who's been finding yourself caught up and watching whatever the distortion is on the streaming services or the internet or wherever you're receiving your information, if you find yourself feeling powerless or frustrated or confused about what's happening on earth, then I invite you to dive deep into the Love Territory Guide certification and our books and any of the creations that Mary Magdalene, Yeshua, and the Highest Light has guided me to create, because you can absolutely choose to live in the fifth dimension, but you have to choose it. And choosing it is not enough. You have to actually take action daily and consistently to support that. So no need to be alarmed or concerned by what is happening on earth, because you absolutely have the power to support the transformation of what is taking place. You only need to remember your power and back that up with daily action. So now that we've covered that interesting and amazing and important topic, let's get to your May Oracle reading. Again, coming from our book, The Angelic's Wildest Dreams. And I'm going to share with you this passage, which takes place during a dinner between the main character and her light family, her spiritual light family. And yes, so that's sort of the intro or the lead in to what I'm about to share with you. She looked around and everyone nodded in understanding. Veronica was not alone. They had all experienced something similar on their journeys as well. That's how it works, Edward said. The refined sugar and caffeine is toxic to your system. It's man-made and it lowers your frequency. Once that happens, the negative agenda energies can more easily insert the lower vibrating thought forms into your field. If you have any sense of unworthiness, which most humans have from childhood trauma or other traumas and programming in the matrix, it's incredibly easy for these nonsensical thought forms to activate in your mind. If you believe them as true, which most humans do, you'll go back to living the way the artificial matrix encourages everyone to live, disconnected from your true origins and mission, and thus you'll never fulfill your destiny. All of us have faced these very same challenges, Veronica. It's part of the path of becoming who you really are. In your case, and in the case of all of us here, we are angels. Suddenly, Veronica could see it all so crystal clearly, like she could literally see what she had just gone through. She saw the playback, of her sitting at salt, the realization he wasn't coming, the whisper placed in her ear to have some sugary and caffeinated treats to make herself quote-unquote feel better. Then she watched herself inhaling the sugary cookie, the brownie, the latte. As she swallowed each piece, it lowered her vibration further and further. Finally, she saw wisps of energy encircle her, whispering in her ears, and she saw her wounded little girl in her heart, absorbing it all and believing it. Oh my God, I cannot believe I couldn't even access the memory of Cecilia warning me about this as a possibility. It was as if I had never had that conversation with her before, even though clearly, Cecilia, you psychically knew that I would have this experience, and soon. Henry spoke up, grabbing his glass of kombucha and ushering Veronica to sit at the long table in the dining area with Eric and Megan, while Cecilia and Edward listened in from the kitchen. We've all had these experiences, as Edward shared Veronica. Even now, we all have to be mindful of not getting sucked into family drama or collective drama. Otherwise, we open ourselves up to infiltration. And once you're in a lower vibrating state of fear, of unworthiness, of sadness and despair, your higher brain function is offline. There's no way for you to access the divine guidance that wants to flow to you that would show you something entirely different about the situation. This is why doing daily self-healing around limiting beliefs, fears, and traumas is so important, Megan added. I used to self-sabotage any love that came into my life or any good that came to me. The minute something didn't go the way I thought it should, I would do exactly what you did, Veronica. I would eat fast food or sugar-laden foods or drink a bunch of wine, and I would binge watch some low-vibrating series on Netflix. And then I would be susceptible to the negative agenda messages that would tell me not to bother to try and to instead settle for the life that everyone else seemed to be living, a mediocre, grinding hustle towards death. Veronica laughed out loud. It is a mediocre, grinding hustle towards death that we're all programmed to believe is life on earth, isn't it? Work a job you hate, toil for dollars, and not even enough dollars to do too much with. Go into debt and have some kids that, by the way, cost millions of dollars to support. Then you celebrate a variety of holidays that cost tons of money and are laden with unhealthy foods. From there, humans are consistently fearful, eat toxic food on the regular, get poisoned with quote-unquote medicines from the mainstream. I mean, it's absurd when you really start to look at it. And the entire time, humans are avoiding consciously acknowledging the reality that their physical day-to-day life won't go on forever, said Henry. They're avoiding that every moment they spend doing things they hate, with toxic people, eating toxic foods, in relationship with those who aren't their beloved, living a life disconnected from nature and the divine. They will painfully, despairingly regret it all on their deathbed. They'll wish back every moment that they spent out of alignment with the divine, and they'll wish for more time doing what they love, with people who love and adore them, in union with their beloved, and in harmony with the earth. Veronica noticed Edward and Cecilia hugging in the kitchen, kissing gently, while Megan's head now rested on Eric's shoulder. A peace filled Veronica as she began to understand her personal journey and the journey of humanity more clearly from everything that was being shared with her. Henry continued, "This is the trap that Earth can ensnare humans into. It's why it's so important that we don't live in that way, that we don't give in to those negative, self-defeating thoughts, and that we instead stay true to our heart, that we heal our wounded parts and beliefs, and we live as an emanation of what a divinely connected human looks like on Earth. So you not doing what your sister or friends or society say you should do, Veronica, is yet another sign of who you really are. An angelic, here to shine the light so that as many humans as possible can awaken to their true divine nature and return to unity with themselves, the divine, and the earth." Tears once again filled Veronica's eyes, this time not from sadness or a victim story or even of being rejected by Marcus Mullins, but from her soul shining through her body. Her soul was saying yes to the truth that Henry spoke over her. She raised her left arm in front of her, the hands standing at attention, standing at attention, and chills flooded her body. Waves of energy cascaded from her crown down to her spine. She knew who she was. She was a fucking Angelic, with or without Marcus Mullins. So take a nice deep breath there. It was a very intimate dinner party that you entered into in that scene, and it contains some really powerful reminders for you on this path. First, that when you are called to eat foods that are not of the highest light, they're not organic, they've been poisoned, there's toxins in them. When you're inspired to drink alcohol, by the way, I just celebrated 9 years sober, April 25th, so still celebrating that mark, and you better believe we're having a party next year for the 10-year celebration. But anytime you bring in that sort of toxic substance to your food, to your body from food and drink, you're absolutely opening up space for the lower agenda energies to capture your attention and to take you off track from your true destiny. Also, when you take in media or information that is telling you these terrible things are happening in the world, which of course they are happening, but they're not giving you the solutions. Well, sometimes they're happening. Sometimes they're false flag events, but that's a whole other conversation. So whenever you take in those toxins, whether it's food, whether it's drink, whether it's media, whether it's toxic relationships, right? If you have relationships with people who are convinced and they're locked into their stories of despair and victimhood, if you continue to have those kinds of toxins in your environment, relationships, media, food, drink, you open yourself up to infiltration from the negative agenda. Now, this is why, and this is helping me understand what we saw in 2020, which is so many souls who proclaimed to be connected to Source, who were healers, who proclaimed to know things and be connected to the divine. We saw them all buying, almost all of them. I mean, there's like one that I know that didn't fall prey to the agenda. I guess two, myself being one of them. What happened there was these individuals might have throughout their life had connections with the divine at various points. But if you do not maintain your connection, if you do not daily take care of your body vessel, whether it's what you're putting into it or around it or the relationships you're having, you will be open to that infiltration. And when that happens, you get disconnected from who you really are, which is this divine being of the light, and that there are spiritual technologies that are available to you so that you can transmute, transform, transcend, and come together in community with other angelics and support what we're really meant to be doing here on earth, which is keeping our focus on the fifth dimensional or golden age frequency and co-creating that. So I love this reminder. So the month of May, really want to invite you to make sure that you're eating organic, that you are choosing of the highest light. Make this the month you go sober. Really choose to, if you have relationships with souls who are really stuck in victim consciousness or they're eating toxic food and not taking care of themselves and not living their highest path, that you take space from those relationships. This doesn't mean that these humans are bad humans and you should never talk to them again. It just means they're not supporting their own highest frequency, and that's not supporting your highest frequency. So create some spaciousness in your life experience where you can really make a focus on living in a way that is truly supportive of you. I'm looking at two beautiful deer that are right outside my window as I'm sharing this message with you. So sweet. That reminder of honoring our intuition and gentleness and grace. How beautiful. So play with that in this month of May. Really look at where you've let toxins into your environment in whatever way they're manifesting, relationships, media, food, drink, whatever it is, and pick one or more and say, I'm going to let this go for the month of May, and just notice how much more receptive you are to the light, how how much more receptive you are to the light of source and those whispers that come in, those gentle nudgings that come in. Because remember that your highest light self, your higher self, your spiritual team, they don't tell you like something bad's going to happen. That's not how they communicate. They also don't communicate in the way that you're going to see communicated in media. They're not going to tell you to do things that are harmful to you. In fact, when you are receiving the whispers from the divine, there's no doubt, there's no fear. There is gentle nudges and guidance. Go here. Try this. Talk to this person. Sign up for this class. Take this action. It's not get the F out of there right now. It's go over here. Go do this. Talk to this person. Maybe lean into this relationship. Bring in this mentor. You get very specific, gentle guidance that will positively expand your life. If you're hearing messages of doubt, of fear, of despair, those are not the highest light energies, and I invite you to not listen to them. Do not listen to those messages. That is disconnect from who you really are. Now, that doesn't mean avoid it, because if you have an attachment, if you're receiving information from the negative agenda, if it's your own wounds, those things need to have boundaries and you need to take care of those. So you can do that with our Superpowers Guide. You'll receive energetic, spiritual boundaries that you can put up to release those attachments and release that connection to energies that are not of the highest light. So you've got all kinds of tools and resources right here at your fingertips. Go to sacred-spirituality.org to access any of them. If you're not sure where to start, send me a message. And I'm happy to, and it will be me responding, by the way. So we really make sure that we give you, it's very important to me to respond to the messages, to be there and really assist those who have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, and who are willing to live in this fifth dimensional or higher frequency. All right, my dears, if this message, if this oracle reading was of benefit to you today, please consider sharing this with one or more souls that you know that are also on the awakening path. Again, you can get free meditations, transmissions, high vibrational recipes, all the good stuff at sacred-spirituality.org. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm your host, Dr. Christian Strang, and this has been Awakening, the podcast.